right, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, zero tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
And away we go. Episode 1370 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. It is the 3-year anniversary of the sale of the Washington Commanders from Dan and Tanya Snyder to the Josh Harris Group. The Washington Commanders on Wednesday morning, November 2nd, 2022, put out a statement confirming a report from Forbes earlier that morning that the Snyders were exploring a sale of the team. And we on Friday morning, July 21st, 2023, had the closing of the sale of the team to a group led by Josh Harris. And we also, on that glorious day of Friday, July 21st, 2023, had what had been billed as a training camp pep rally at FedEx Field, but the event ended up becoming a massive celebration of the sale as we at FedEx on that day also had a press conference for the Josh Harris Group. One of my favorite snapshots from that day was one of the top limited partners in the Josh Harris Group, Earvin Magic Johnson. Of course, one of the greatest players in NBA history, right? Los Angeles Lakers legend. Earvin Magic Johnson, a limited partner in the Josh Harris Group, dancing to the music of a go-go band at FedEx Field. Yes, we had that. Take a listen.
It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, it's your birthday, it's your birthday, come on, go Magic. It's your birthday, go Magic.
How great was that? Go Magic, it's your birthday. Magic Johnson dancing to go-go. Well, here we are. 3 years later, how is the Josh Harris Group doing? Hello and welcome to this Tuesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we talk Washington Commanders on every episode, no matter the time of year. Next segment, the first of two conversations with Howard Gutman, assessing the 3-year tenure of the Josh Harris Group owning the Washington Commanders. Howard Gutman, the former United States ambassador to Belgium. He is a longtime friend of and strategic advisor for Mitchell Rales, who is the top limited partner in the Josh Harris Group. Howard also is a longtime friend of another key limited partner in the Josh Harris Group, Mark Ein. Now, the ambassador is not here to spill the Harris Group's deepest, darkest secrets, okay? And I would never ask him to do that. I would never put him in that position. But what the ambassador is here to do is give us terrific perspective and insight on the 3-year tenure of the Josh Harris Group owning the Washington Commanders. And we, on this installment of the podcast, will focus on the team's football operations under the Harris Group, including how the team has handled the 2026 offseason, off going 5-12 in the 2025 regular season, and what had been the case with the team for years, leaks no longer being in effect. Can I get some more of Magic Johnson dancing to go-go, dancing to the music of Washington, D.C.?
It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, it's your birthday, it's your birthday, come on, go Magic. It's your birthday, go Magic.
Thank you. I cannot get enough of that. And also on the show, we'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats now are 3-1 on a 6-game trip out west to begin their post-All-Star break portion of the season. A 7-3 win at the Colorado Rockies on Monday night. The O's, their 7-game winning streak is over. A 6-5 loss at the Boston Red Sox on Monday night in a big game, a game in which the O's overcame a 3-1 fifth-inning deficit, but blew a 4-3 sixth-inning lead and blew a 5-4 seventh-inning lead. Also, the O's committed 4 errors, each of which was a throwing error. The loss extended Boston's winning streak to 14 games. Additionally, I'll react to the O's placing catcher Adley Rutschman on an injured list for the third time this season. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. You can reach me via writing a review of the podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can write about whatever you want, and I'll read what you write if you give the podcast a 5-star rating. From Cresco Merritt on Apple Podcasts, writes Cresco Merritt. I'm a big fan of you and your podcast. I've been listening for a long time with my dad. He's the owner of WSH on the Daily. Thank you for that, Cresco Merritt. The great Ray Pereira, owner of at WSH on the Daily on Instagram and owner of Catering by Uptown, two terrific sponsors of this podcast. I appreciate that very much. Email from Matthias on Mike Florio, the creator and editor-in-chief of Pro Football Talk, taking a post on X from former Washington Redskins quarterback Robert Griffin III a bit too seriously. Mike Florio, who I for years have called Fake News Florio because his hit rate is, shall we say, not the greatest, and he can be very agenda-driven. He was a big anti-name person regarding the Redskins, and that's fine, but he, in my opinion, let that opinion influence his coverage of the team. He does at times have good intel and analysis, but he also can be fake news. The backstory on this specific situation. So RG3 this past Friday afternoon, July 17th on X, put up a post in which he, in a video, while dressed in his Redskins uniform, teased a Netflix documentary on the infamous Seattle game. The Skins' 24-14 loss to the Seattle Seahawks at FedEx Field on January 6, 2013 in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. So RG3 in that game tore his right ACL and right LCL. Florio, this past Friday night on Pro Football Talk, put up a post, headline, quote, Robert Griffin III hints at a Netflix documentary on the day he tore his ACL, end quote. One problem, RG3 wasn't being serious. He was partaking in a social media trend. Now, Florio did admit the mistake. The official Pro Football Talk account on X this past Friday night had this in a post, quote, so this is apparently some really hip and hilarious meme that, at least for someone like RG3, seems like a plausible reality. At a time like this, I'm glad I'm old, end quote. Writes Matthias. This is too good. Made my Saturday that Fake News Florio actually thought RG Me was making a Netflix documentary based on his meme post trend. At least he owns it, but come on. Thank you for the email, Matthias. There is not a doubt in my mind that RG Me, would love for Netflix to do a documentary on the Seattle game in order to make him a sympathetic victim. And I actually do think that an objective, historically accurate, well-done documentary on the RG3 saga with the Redskins would be interesting. But yeah, RG3 was kidding with that post on X. You got to be careful with social media. There's a lot that isn't serious. There's a lot that isn't true. There's a lot of fake news. And Fake News Florio, of all people, should know that. Hey, please consider subscribing to this podcast if you're not already doing that. Subscribing to the podcast costs nothing. Make sure that you never miss an episode and helps out the podcast a lot. And if you're already subscribing, thank you. Life insurance. You and your family hopefully never need it, but not having it can make a tragic situation even worse. We have a family friend who lost her husband to cancer. Him not having life insurance made the ensuing years even more difficult. Well, Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You'll just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Al Galdi. That's ethos.com/Al Galdi. Ethos.com/Al Galdi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. Trustpilot rating as of June 1st, 2025.
If your business runs on 5 different apps, 12 browser tabs, and one spreadsheet that everyone's afraid to touch, it's probably time for Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that connects every part of your business into one powerful, easy-to-use platform. So instead of wasting time switching between disconnected systems, your entire business works together in real time. Your team moves faster, your data stays accurate, and you can actually focus on growing your business. Let one unified system run your entire business. From the first opportunity to the final payment, everything works together in one place. Whether you're a small business or managing a large operation, Odoo gives you one flexible platform built to grow with you. Learn more at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
So as we have arrived at the 3-year anniversary of the sale of the Washington Commanders from Dan and Tanya Snyder to the Josh Harris Group, how about the sale price 3 years later? The reported purchase price was $6.05 billion, which was a record sale price for a North American sports franchise. Well, we on July 11th got the news that the estate of Paul G. Allen has agreed to sell the Seattle Seahawks to an ownership group led by venture capitalist Vinod Khosla and his family for a reported $9.612 billion. Commander sell price $6.05 billion. Seahawks sale price $9.612 billion. The Josh Harris Group already has seen the value of the Commanders go up by quite a bit. So much went into the sale of the Washington Commanders. So much has happened with the team since it was sold. And so it is a pleasure to welcome back to the Al Galdi podcast Howard Gutman for the first of two conversations analyzing the 3-year tenure of the Josh Harris Group owning the Washington Commanders. We in this conversation will discuss football operations under the Harris Group. We in our next conversation will discuss business operations under the Harris Group, including the stadium situation and, yes, the name/brand situation. Howard Gutman is a longtime friend of and strategic advisor for Mitchell Rales, who is the top limited partner in the Josh Harris Group. Howard also is a longtime friend of another key limited partner in the Josh Harris Group, Mark Ein. Howard is the former United States ambassador to Belgium. He was U.S. ambassador to Belgium from August 2009 to July 2013. He is a 1977 graduate of Columbia University and a 1980 graduate of Harvard Law School. He has appeared in several movies and television shows. He is a radio host. Howard is the host of the political commentary radio show As I See It on News Radio WRVA in Richmond, Virginia, and on the Odyssey app. And Howard, for the 2026 season, for a fourth consecutive season, will be co-hosting a Washington Commanders postgame show as he and his son Colin host the postgame gut check on Sports Radio 910 The Fan in Richmond and on the Odyssey app. Howard is a big fan and astute observer of the Washington Commanders. He is a loyal listener of this podcast. You can follow him on X at the Howard Gutman. Ambassador, it is great to talk to you. How are you?
I am doing fabulously, Al. I hope you've had a great summer.
We have. Thank you for that. By the way, I mentioned the Seahawks. What happened with the USA at the Seahawks Stadium, Lumen Field, which for the 2026 FIFA World Cup was rebranded as Seattle Stadium because FIFA banned stadiums from displaying the names of corporate sponsors that are not official tournament partners. But the hideous 4-1 loss to Belgium on July 6th in the round of 16 as the former U.S. ambassador to Belgium. What was that match like for you?
Well, to me, there were no winners from that game. Belgium, the U.S. was awful, but Belgium played like Belgians. They kind of played pretty, kind of eventually they'll score, but they don't have that killer instinct. So I knew they'd get eliminated the next match. So it was a bad match for Belgium. It was a worse match for the U.S., but the person who had it the worst was me. Because when Donald Trump stepped in on that red card, every Belgian who knows me, which is about 11 million people, started screaming at me all over my email and social media that how could my president do this? So I had a couple of bad days, and had the U.S. won, it would have ended up worse for me because the Belgians were just livid about the red card reversal.
That is funny. Next time I talk to President Trump, I'll have him call you to apologize. So we have reached 3 years of the Josh Harris Group owning the Washington Commanders. You know, it still is amazing that the ownership tenure of Dan Snyder came to an end. It was like a gift from the heavens. But you know the Harris Group well. What's your assessment of how the Harris Group is doing in terms of football operations?
Well, so it's whether you call it football, whether you call it business, and we can look at both. It is a change fundamentally with regard to the fans, with regard to the players, the agents, the other owners, as to what the Washington Commanders stand for. So this offseason, there were moves that you could consider surprising or baffling. And in the past, if those moves had occurred, we would have said, the Danny has something up his sleeve. Either the Danny was mad at Cliff Kingsbury, or the Danny was trying to figure out a way to make a quick buck. And instead, when moves came, immediately the cutting of Tyler Biotish or Brian Johnson, or shortly the firing of Cliff Kingsbury, or the separation with Kingsbury, or in 4 days, hiring David Blau, who has, been in the league for a cup of coffee. And then Durante Jones, the young guy. Had that happened and Dan was at the helm, the fans would have had this doomsday view because they would have been right. It would have been done for all the wrong reasons. Here, the fans, the media, the other clubs either gave it the benefit of the doubt or a leap of faith to Adam Pearce, to Dan, and that's to Dan Quinn, and that's because of ownership. They understand that the grown-ups are now running the team, and they understand who these people are. We have now learned, every fan has learned who their owners are. If they didn't know who their owners are, the fact that they are trying to make the stands bounce at the new RFK Stadium has told every fan who their owners are. Their new owners are fans who grew up like they grew up, bouncing those stands at RFK Stadium, remembering that as the key to being a Washingtonian. And the ownership wants to replicate that experience. They are a fan like every other fan. But at the same time, it turns out a group of our fans happen to be some of the best business people, private equity people, like Apollo for Josh Harris, Danaher for Mitch Rales, Mark Hines, Venture House. These guys know how to buy businesses, put professionals in their roles, and grow them properly. And yet they can still root. And so we have someone looking out for us. It's not Howard Gutman saying it. We see firsthand that we have people looking out for us. They brought in people. Adam Peters was by far the consensus number one hire. Now, I don't know if the 3-year tenure works out or not. I don't know how the 4th year would look. It's August, Al. In August, all the fans of all 32 teams are thinking about the Super Bowl. So this is a great time. We're all going to the Super Bowl. I don't know how it works out, but I know that the leadership has done textbook, a Harvard Business School course on how to take over sports franchise. First of all, let's look at some of the things they actually did. They built a notion of succession into their original hiring. And that succession meant that they took a big name, Cliff Kingsbury, but they had in the wings Anthony Lynn, Brian Johnson, old experienced men, and they had upcoming stars, Tavita Pritchard and David Blau. And sure enough, when the time came where they said, we're not sure that we're maxing out where Jaden should be, and we're maxing out this offense, and maybe there's more to be had, they have David Blau right there waiting. Tavita Pritchard already went off to Stanford. He can come back one day to this franchise. And the most interesting thing, if you ask me, of the offseason is the hiring of Danny Etling. Now, I don't think many fans even know who Danny Etling is, but David Blau is our assistant quarterback coach, having come right out of playing quarterback. And now we don't have an assistant quarterback coach, so we hired Danny Etling, straight from playing quarterback to be the assistant quarterback coach getting groomed. Someday there might be a Super Bowl where the head coaches are David Blau and Danny Etling blocking each other, just like the McVay, the Shanahan, the LaFleur, the Kevin O'Donnell. They have this notion of bringing in the best people viewed for tomorrow and pairing them with the wise people who have the career. That's how you build a long-term franchise, and that's what they've done so far. So that's one thing we know they've done. The other thing we know they did is they can admit their mistakes. Our defense, year one, year two, was atrocious. They didn't sit there and say, "Oh, it's injuries. Oh, if we didn't lose our defensive end, he was having a career year." They reconstituted this defense. They spent the money. They changed tunes. And at least on paper, it sure looks like we have a good defense. We know some other things about them. They are not cheap. They're not doing the early Danny Snyder career spending like, oh, I want to collect trophies. Can I get Deion Sanders if I send my jet and spend a lot of money, even though he's on the downside of his career and no one else wants him? That's not how they're spending their money. But for example, they rolled up a Brinks truck to try to get Brian Flores. That's not news. And Brian Flores used that to get a Brinks truck out of Minnesota, stay there, but he had school-age kids and his wife in Minnesota. He couldn't really come, but they did their best to bring the best and the brightest in defense. And when they couldn't get him, they got what I think is recognized as Brian Flores, light, the next generation, the next, Sean McVay when you didn't have Kyle Shanahan. So when defense went bad, when they swung and missed on their defensive coordinator, they didn't sit there making excuses. They didn't talk about if we only didn't have injuries. They went out, they revamped their defense, and they're taking a new tack. So we know they have humility. They're willing to spend. We know they're willing to spend. They were in the Tyler Lindenbaum, the center. They were in the Alex Pierce competition. They were in the Tyler Lindenbaum and Alex Pierce competition until the Al Galdi test. What is the Al Galdi test? If they had so overpaid for Alex Pierce and Tyler Lindenbaum, the final numbers, even Al Galdi would have come in the next day and said, "Oy, we just overpaid ridiculously for a center and for a receiver who's not even that key," but they were willing to spend top dollar within the sense of fairness and be the adults in the room. They have hired the best people and given them the room. You can tell these moves, none of these moves are moves made by Josh Harris or Mark Ein or Mitch Rales. They're listening and watching and letting their professionals, Lance Newmark, Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, let them do their jobs. You can tell by the nature of the hirings, we're going to go for the Chigaconquets, the next star, not the last star, just how you would hope a team would be built. So I can't tell you what the results will be. I can tell you the process is textbook, could be taught at Wharton or Harvard Business School. And I then last week questioned it. When you start looking at those surveys about the top 10 best players at every position, and if we didn't have Laramie Tunsil, we would not have made anywhere on those. You've got Jay Daniels as 12. You've got, it seemed like, oh, come on, where are we? And then I realized that those surveys, that those reports prove the wisdom of our system. Because if you start asking a different question, you can list Jay Daniels 12th all you want. Is there a single quarterback in the league you would trade even up today, Jay Daniels even up? Would you take a swap today, Patrick Mahomes, where he is in his career, for Jay Daniels? And I'd say no. Would you take Joe Burrow, with the mileage he has on him and where he is, we don't know the upside of Jane Daniel, but I don't think we swap him for anyone. You swap Trent Williams right on the list, number 1 or number 2 on the list. Would you trade Connerly for Trent Williams today? I wouldn't do that trade. So those lists of the top 10 were asking the wrong question. They were asking the question of who had the 10 best players from last year. That's the fundamental mistake in prognosticators. You want to know who's going to have the top 10 players when we come out next year with the top 10 players. And at some point, Trent Williams will have been broken down and Josh Connerly will have been coming into his prime. And I wouldn't make that trade. So I think our management has taken a mature, but they didn't go running. Every commentator in the world went flying at Brandon Ayuk or Stephon Diggs. I don't see them there. When Posick came on the market the other day, this Ethan Posick, the center from Cleveland that was available, Posick's been going downhill, and he was ranked 20th out of 40 centers last year. So he's going to be 30th out of 40 centers next year. So they're not going there. So I think they are building to get better each year. And look, out of 2 years, we went to the NFC Championship, one of the two, and still we're building for the future.
Something that so stands out about Washington football operations these days is the lack of leaks. On the podcast late last regular season, as the team was going 5-12, wondered whether the time-honored tradition of a late season or end of season expose by a media outlet on all that went wrong for Washington in a bad season would be upheld. And that tradition was not upheld. There were no exposés with anonymous quotes and anonymous sources and reveals of behind-the-scenes problems about which we had no idea. You look at the offseason, the team parting with offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. Nobody in the media or fan base saw that coming until a day or two before the parting happened. The release of center Tyler Biadasz. Nobody in the media or fan base saw that coming. You mentioned the San Francisco 49ers branded Ayuk and unrestricted free agent Stephon Diggs as we wait on whether Washington will do more at receiver. We have no idea what the team is truly thinking. The leaks have stopped for a franchise that under Dan Snyder leaked a ton.
There are two major benefits, and it is the sign of a well-run organization. It is the sign of owners who know that even they may not be told something because they wouldn't want to know. They'll obviously, when it's decided, it's about to come out, they can get the last approval if it's a certain level of decision-making on budget or something. But two things happen. One, Schefter doesn't tell the world what's going on in our clubhouse. The Commanders announce it when it's ready. They haven't played that game, and I give Ben Standing and John Keim and Nicky a hard time saying, are you guys the worst press corps in the world? You're the last guys to know anything. I was shocked at Biadasz. I was shocked at Kingsbury. I was, shocked at Brian Johnson. So one thing is, you don't want to do it till you're ready to do it. Nobody had a clue we were taking Sonny Styles. It didn't leak. I don't want to see it on Callsy or any of the prediction sites because everybody's leaked our pick. So one thing is, secrecy is worth value, and you save all value. But there's a second element to it, which is Kingsbury didn't happen to get fired because it was a Tuesday. There obviously were reasons. And what normally would have followed in past Redskin world of Danny and we don't have to, Bruce Allen and the rest of the crew, is they would have started bad-mouthing the guy even before they fired him and piled on afterwards to defend their action. There wasn't a bad word said. The press has been scratching its head about Biadasz and Brian Johnson. Finally, Keim got a leak that it was something about how the players were being called, the line plays, and whether easier assignments were going to be out. I have no idea about any of that. Keim finally said it months after the fact. Nobody said anything other than, we think these are quality people who were fabulous. We just are trying to do the best for the Commanders. There isn't a single, there's only one road anywhere near Ashburn, and it is the high road. And ultimately, that matters. Ultimately, could Kingsbury be back someday to help on something? Could Biotish be a coach here someday? You don't burn a bridge because you never know when you have to cross it. This is a class organization, and that starts at the top. And again, it gets back to the fans. I can tell you that if you're talking every minute and Kevin's talking every minute, everybody's talking about Brandon Ayuk, I can tell you the owners are as well, because it's an interesting issue as a fan. They're just not talking to Adam about what the heck to do about it, or to Lance Newmark or to Dan Quinn. They're enjoying the ride the way the rest of us are, because let Adam cook, let Dan coach. And if they don't think they've hired someone irresponsible, that he would sign a Brandon Ayuk. He didn't believe he was healthy, and he didn't believe he was sane, and they weren't getting good value. If they have to worry that they're getting a player signed who's insane, unhealthy, or not the right value, they wouldn't have the confidence in their leadership. And I can tell you they have the confidence in their leadership, because you hire them, you let them do their job. And then if you decide results are such at some point that there's someone else who can do the job better, that's the call you make. You don't tell them we need a different wide receiver too. The professionals make the decision on who's going to be wide receiver too. And obviously, we've seen how that's made. It isn't like they're standing pat. The day you guys and me are all looking at Brandon Ayuk and he's now not being signed, they had a signing. They signed Rasul Douglas. They were looking at whatever funds there were at their secondary to boost it up. Now, I don't know if that's because Amos, wasn't able to go in mini camp, or it's just that they were looking at their dollars and where those best went. But they were looking at Rasul Douglas while we're all talking about whether a seeming crazy man who's no one's seen played football, or a guy who's had some off the field problems, should be signed as a wide receiver, when they have in that room Treylon Burks and Antonio Williams and McCaffrey and Jalen Lane. And they know what they've got in the room, and they'll make the decision.
Yes, they will. Howard Gutman, Ambassador, thank you, and we'll talk soon. Looking forward to your thoughts on business operations under the Josh Harris Group.
Thanks so much. Appreciate a call anytime.
All right. Hey, whatever big event that you're planning, a wedding, a party, a corporate gathering, consider using a great sponsor of this podcast, Catering by Uptown. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Catering by Uptown is outstanding. It is a family business. It is run by the Pereiras, who are terrific Washington Commanders fans, and Catering by Uptown will provide you and your event with excellent service. Catering by Uptown staff on the day of your event is the first to arrive and last to leave, and is fully prepared to offer quality, variety, and abundance, prepared to execute the plan that you and Catering by Uptown created together. Catering by Uptown specialty is weddings. Get excellent service at an affordable price. In fact, if you visit cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can check out Catering by Uptown's premier wedding venues. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. So the Washington Nationals are in the midst of a 6-game trip out west. The road trip consists of 2 3-game series against 2 of the worst teams in MLB, and the Nats so far are 3-1 on the trip. The Nats so far are taking care of business on the trip. They, over the weekend, won 2 out of 3 games at the Athletics at Sutter Health Park in West Sacramento, California, and the Nats on Monday night won Game 1 of a 3-game series at the Colorado Rockies, 7-3. The Nats, in their 3 wins on this road trip, have totaled 35 runs You look at each team in MLB's 2026 regular season. The Nats now are back above 500, 51-50 with a run differential of plus 19. The Rockies now are a National League worst 40-62 with a National League worst run differential of minus 94. And what we have in this series is the team in the Nats that is number one in MLB in most runs scored, 552, playing at the team in the Rockies that is dead last in MLB in fewest runs allowed, 581. And so it was not exactly shocking that the Nats offense on Monday night did well. 7 runs, 12 hits, which were 3 home runs, a triple, a double, and 7 singles, 2 walks. The Nats did go just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, but C.J. Abrams, he is the Nats starting shortstop and number 4 batter, went 1 for 5 with a 2-run homer. Abrams in the Nats 2-run 7th had a 2-out 2-run homer to right field for a 6-3 Nats lead. The homer went a projected 420 feet per Statcast. Abrams for this regular season now has 22 home runs and an OPS of 871 as his terrific season continues. Andres Chaparro, an eventful night for him. He is the Nats starting DH and number 3 batter, went 1 for 3 with a 3-run homer, raising his OPS for this regular season at the major league level to 792. Chaparro in the Nats 3-run first had a first pitch 3-run homer to left field for a 3-0 Nats lead. The homer went a projected 427 feet per Statcast. And Chaparro in the top of the 5th had a line out for the first out. And as he was jogging off the field from the right side of the infield to the third base dugout, he went across the very top of the pitcher's mound in terms of the portion of the mound closest to second base. And he did this for maybe 1 step, which sure seemed to be inadvertent. But this bothered the Rockies starting pitcher Kyle Freeland, causing benches and bullpens to empty, although no punches were thrown, and things did calm down quickly. But the whole thing was so dumb and so needless. Also homering for the Nats was Jacob Young. He is the Nats starting center fielder and number 6 batter, went 3 for 4 with a solo homer and 2 singles. Did get thrown out in an attempted steal of second base. But Young in the Nats 1-run 6 had a leadoff first pitch homer to left field for a 4-3 Nats lead. That homer went a projected 437 feet per Statcast. That was just Young's second home run since homering on May 25th. Remember when he was homering a bunch? He had cooled off. He, for this regular season, now has an OPS of 676. Dalen Lyle had the triple. He came off the bench to pinch hit and DH, went 1 for 2 with an RBI triple. Lyle in the Nats 1-run 9th had a 2-out RBI triple to the right center field gap on an 0-2 pitch to put the Nats up 7-3. Lyle, for this regular season, now has an OPS of 706. He's another guy who had cooled off. And Curtis Mead, he remains hot. He is the Nats starting third baseman and number 2 batter, went 3 for 5 with a double and 2 singles. Did commit a fielding error, but his OPS for this regular season now is at 870, 1 point lower than C.J. Abrams' 871. Curtis Mead has been so good. The Nats relief pitching in this 7-3 win at the Rockies on Monday night was really good. Yes, I said that the Nats relief pitching in this game was really good. It has not been often that we have said that about the Nats relief pitching this season, but 3 Nats relievers combined for 4 2/3 scoreless and hitless innings. Riley Cornelio, he tossed 1 2/3 scoreless and hitless innings. Now, he did have no strikeouts versus 2 walks in throwing just 15 strikes versus 14 balls, but still, he tossed 1 2/3 scoreless and hitless innings, including inducing a 5-4-3 double play on a grounder by the Rockies' number 4 batter, Hunter Goodman, to end the bottom of the 5th with the game tied at 3. Matt Crook tossed a perfect bottom of the 7th on just 8 pitches, and Tom Cosgrove tossed a perfect bottom of the 8th and a perfect bottom of the 9th for the save, and he tossed the 2 perfect innings on just 10 pitches. Really nice work by the Nats bullpen in relief of starting pitcher Andrew Alvarez. He allowed 3 runs in 4 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, which were a double and 5 singles, issued 3 walks, recorded just 2 strikeouts, threw 74 pitches, 46 strikes, 28 balls, committed a throwing error. Alvarez put a lot of guys on base, actually did a good job of navigating his way out of trouble, but in the bottom of the 3rd, allowed 3 runs on a double, 2 singles, and a walk as he gave up a 2-out first pitch opposite field, a 3-run double by Willie Castro to right center field off the outfield wall to tie the game at 3. Navigating your way out of trouble is nice, but, all it takes is one pitch for multiple runs to score when you're constantly putting guys on base. Andrew Alvarez at the major league level in this regular season, 14 games, including 7 starts, ERA of 4.22, whip of 1.50. That is a very high whip, and a lot of that is the walk. His walks per 9 innings is at 4.22. But the Nats won. Here was Nats manager Blake Butera during his post-game session with reporters late night on Monday night, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
Yeah, I thought there were a handful of things. I thought coming out of the gates the way we did was huge. Getting a three-run lead just coming out to start the first inning is obviously a huge advantage for us. So I thought coming out ready to go in the first stands out the most. I thought the way Riley Cornelio pitched was huge in a spot we really needed him to, where Alvy went a little bit shorter than we would have hoped. Curtis having the night that he had was awesome. CJ, huge home run. JY, huge home run, clutch home runs. And then to add one on there at the end, too, with Dalen with that big 2-out triple. I thought there were timely hits. I thought our at-bats were really good, and I thought Tommy Crosgrove was awesome as well. I think that was his second career save, first one with us, of course. Riley's first career win in the big leagues. A lot of cool moments from tonight's game.
What have you seen from Riley just over the past couple of outings? He seems to be stringing together some really good performance.
I think confidence is the biggest thing. I think we all see, when he's out there pitching, what the stuff looks like, the numbers he's flashing up there on the scoreboard with the velo, with the slider, of course, as well. He has the stuff to get outs in the big leagues. Now it's just about confidence and belief in the fact that he can do that, and not trying to be perfect. And when he's attacking hitters and has belief and confidence that he can have success up here, that's when you're going to see him start to take off.
I know you're using it because of the matchup there, but the fact that it is against one of the best hitters in Goodman and to come through getting a double play grounder, what does that do for his confidence? One batter things.
Yeah, hopefully it's a huge boost for him. But also understanding, we trust him in that moment. That's a big spot for us right there, facing one of the best hitters in baseball with a man on base and only one out, and to get that double play ball like he did, and then go back out there for the next inning and pitch a clean inning, or not a clean inning, but get us through that inning there. Just hopefully he can build some momentum off this.
Yes, hopefully. Riley Cornelio is talented, has good stuff. It's just a question of not walking guys, limiting the pitch count, but he lately has looked better. Game 2 for the Nats at the Rockies, Tuesday night at 8:40. The Nats have listed Miles Mikolas as their probable starting pitcher for the game. Life insurance. You and your family hopefully never need it, but not having it can make a tragic situation even worse. We have a family friend who lost her husband to cancer. Him not having life insurance made the ensuing years even more difficult. Well, Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You'll just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Al Galdi. That's ethos.com/Al Galdi. Ethos.com/Al Galdi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary. Trustpilot rating as of June 1st, 2025. Well, we on Monday night had Game 1 of the Baltimore Orioles' biggest series in MLB's 2026 regular season so far, a 3-game series at the Boston Red Sox. The O's came into the series just 2 games behind the Red Sox for the American League's third of 3 wildcard spots. The O's came into the series on a 7-game winning streak. The Red Sox came into the series on a 13-game winning streak. And the O's on Monday night did lose in what was a battle, a 6-5 loss at the Red Sox in a game in which the O's overcame a 3-1 fifth-inning deficit, but blew a 4-3 sixth-inning lead and blew a 5-4 seventh-inning lead. Also, the O's in this game committed 4 errors, each of which was a throwing error. So the Orioles' 7-game winning streak is over, and Boston's winning streak now is at 14 games. The O's now are 49-52 with a run differential of -14. The Red Sox now are 51-48 with a run differential of +46. And the O's now are 3 games behind the Red Sox for the American League's third of 3 wild card spots. There's also this. The O's now are just 8-15 in one-run games. More on Monday night's loss in moments, but the O's on Monday afternoon announced having placed catcher Adley Rutschman on the 10-day injured list, retroactive to July 19th due to left wrist inflammation. So the Orioles continue to be walloped by injury for a third consecutive season, but third time this season that Adley Rutschman has been placed on an injured list. He was on the 10-day injured list from April 11th to April 21st due to left ankle inflammation, and he was on the 7-day concussion injured list from June 20th, retroactive to June 19th to June 28th. The O's on Monday afternoon also announced having selected the contract of catcher Chadwick Trump from AAA Norfolk. But Adley Rutschman is a catcher for whom next season is his age 29 season and final season of team control. He last regular season played in just 90 games, due in large part to left oblique and right oblique injuries, and he so far in this regular season has played in just 67 of the Orioles' 101 games. There has been a good bit of talk about the O's needing to sign him to a big money contract extension. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Catchers do not age well. Rutschman is having a good season, but his lack of availability over the last 2 seasons has been a problem. The Orioles relief pitching in this 6-5 loss at the Red Sox on Monday night was a problem. 2 Orioles relievers combined to allow 2 runs in 2 innings. Ynier Cano allowed 1 run in 2/3 of an inning. He faced 4 batters and got 2 outs. He, in the bottom of the 7th, allowed a run in giving up 2 singles, including a 2-out RBI single by Don Rafaela into left field on a 1-2 pitch to tie the game at 5, and also on the play was a throwing error by left fielder Taylor Ward for the Orioles' 4th throwing error of the game. And Tyler Wells, he allowed 1 run in 1 and 1/3 innings. He did generate 3 swinging strikeouts in the bottom of the 8th, but he in that bottom of the 8th also allowed a run in giving up a 2-out solo homer by Caleb Durbin to left center field over the Green Monster for a 6-5 Red Sox lead. The homer had a projected distance of just 364 feet per StatCast, so that was a Fenway Park specialty, but it was a home run. Now, the O's in this game did get good starting pitching, as their starting pitching continues to be a recent strength. Shane Baz allowed 4 runs, just 2 earned in 6 innings, with 6 strikeouts versus no walks. He gave up 7 hits, which were 2 doubles and 5 singles. He threw a ton of strikes, 77 pitches, 58 strikes versus just 19 balls. Did commit a throwing error. Baz in the bottom of the 3rd allowed 2 unearned runs, as the O's in the inning committed 2 errors in a throwing error by second baseman Jeremiah Jackson and a throwing error by shortstop Gunnar Henderson. If you on Monday night took a shot every time the O's committed a throwing error, you're probably still hammered. But Shane Baz is doing well. His overall stats for this regular season: 20 games, all starts, ERA of 4.13, whip of 1.38. But Baz for the month of June had an ERA of 3.68 over 6 starts, and Baz for this month of July has an ERA of 3.78 over 3 starts. And the Orioles offense in this 6-5 loss at the Red Sox on Monday night was good. 5 runs, 11 hits, which were a home run, 5 doubles and 5 singles, 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position, 2 walks. So the O's did strike out 15 times and did fail to come through in the top of the 9th. They, in facing Red Sox closer Aroldis Chapman, had runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs while trailing 6-5, but Tyler O'Neill lined out to end the game. Exit velocity of 93.8 miles per hour per StatCast. Some bad luck. But the O's got to Red Sox starting pitcher Peyton Tolley. He allowed 4 runs in 5 2/3 innings despite having 9 strikeouts versus 1 walk. Tolley's a good pitcher. He came into the game with an ERA of 3.11 over 15 games, all starts in this regular season. Very nice offensive game for Gunnar Henderson, who, as we've been discussing, needs to get going. He is the Orioles starting shortstop and number 3 batter, went 3 for 5 with 3 doubles, so did commit a throwing error. His OPS for this regular season now is at .695. And Christian Encarnacion Strand, the man known as CES, He is the Orioles starting third baseman, and number 8 batter went 2 for 3 with a solo homer and an RBI single. He and the Orioles' one-run fifth had a leadoff homer to left center field over the Green Monster to cut the Orioles' deficit to 3-2. And he and the Orioles' two-run sixth had a 2-out RBI single up the middle for a 4-3 Orioles lead. The O's this past Thursday night, July 16th, announced having recalled Christian Encarnacion Strand from AAA Norfolk, for which he has an OPS of 863 this season, which is his age 26 season. The O's this past April 13th acquired him via trade with the Cincinnati Reds for cash considerations. A lot to take from this game. Here was O's manager Craig Albernaz's post-game session with reporters on Monday night.
Obviously, two really hot teams, back and forth game. Did it feel like this kind of was going to be a game that came down to the late innings there?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those games where whoever was left upright standing was going to win, and I'm proud of our guys, the way they fought. I mean, even in ninth against Chapman, Cals are going up there and working a great at-bat, Gunnar with a great swing. And then TL put a great swing on his, just wasn't high enough, but really proud of our guys.
4 hours will obviously stand out. Is it difficult to overcome that for a team when there are that many?
It was technically 3 errors. I mean, Ward got an error on the Gunnar throw too as well, that's semantics. But no, I think the one that hurt the most was the JJ one, because it kept the inning going. And they scored a run off that. I mean, Shane thought he was 12 years old again, back to his shortstop days, and threw it side on. But yeah, those are the things that we've been doing a great job of. But that's the JJ one really hurt because they ended up scoring a run on.
What'd you think of the approach there to Durbin from Wells? It looked like cutter at the top of the zone. Not a bad pitch overall.
Yeah, cutter at top of the zone. Durbin put a good swing on it. The monster's right there, and credit to him, he put a good swing on it. But Wells has been outstanding for us, and all of our bullpen guys have been answering the bell. And the one pitch you just want back, but Wells has been outstanding.
Was this environment almost kind of like a playoff game in July? I remember, we talked about how, pregame that every game counts the same, but did it feel like a pretty big environment tonight?
It's a packed house every night at Fenway. I mean, and plus the way that team is playing, like the fans show out, and yeah, it felt great. I mean, the boys were energized. Like I said, a great back and forth game, but yeah, it stinks that we didn't come out on the right side, but no, it was a great atmosphere.
Impressive swing from Encarnacion Strand there for that home run. Impressive swing from Encarnacion Strand there for that home run.
Yeah, it was great to see him get one. Yeah, that was a really good swing, and the track record speaks for himself and what he's been doing in Norfolk. So yeah, we needed that, to kind of get the guys going, and it kind of catapulted us to kind of get the little rally going.
Like the matchup better for Holiday against a righty in that situation, pulling Strand and going Holiday. Is that just purely matchup based at the plate?
Yeah, with the way our roster is constructed, right, like with the guys we have, we can only afford to go at one, and we talked as a group, and the matchup with JJ, they like better than we like the matchup with JJ better than CS, and then Holiday. Obviously Holiday's a really good hitter, so took our shot there.
You're pleased with Shane's efficiency, and did it feel like kind of just a continuation of what he's been doing so well this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was really efficient outing, low pitch count. I mean, our pitching staff as a whole didn't walk anyone, which was really good to see. And yeah, Shane did enough to win the game, but yeah, his efficiency, pounding the strike zone with all of his pitches too. I thought his mix was really good. Huffy did a great job with him, going great game plan and navigating with Shane. So, credit to Huff and also Shane.
Are you concerned about 8 errors in 3 games?
No.
For Gunnar to go oppo 3 doubles, how good was that to see from an approach standpoint, especially left on left?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was what we talked about with a lot of our hitters, but especially with Gunnar, and against left on left matchup, and those are some tough left on left matchups. Tolley and also Chapman, and Gunnar did a great job, going the other way, and not only just going the other way, but with authority as well. That was really encouraging to see from Gunnar.
Yes, it was. Game 2 for the O's at the Red Sox. Tuesday night at 7:10. The O's have listed Kyle Bradish as their probable starting pitcher for the game. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. Wednesday's show, episode 1371, will include a lot for you on the Washington Commanders. Also on Wednesday's show, I'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats are at the Colorado Rockies Tuesday night at 8:40 for Game 2 of a 3-game series. The O's are at the Boston Red Sox Tuesday night at 7:10 for Game 2 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, go Magic. It's your birthday, it's your birthday, it's your birthday. Come on, go Magic. It's your birthday.